So we're getting to the end of the triathlon season here in the UK. I really hope you've had a successful year, accomplished all your goals. And the big question is obviously now, what next? So before we get into that, we need to talk about the off season. Is there even an off season? And of course, what is the off season? So let's dive in. Hi, welcome back to the North Endurance YouTube channel. My name's Paul and today we're going to talk you through the off season. So let's start with what is it? I don't like the phrase off season to start with anyway. The word off implies that we shouldn't be doing anything, and that's not really the case. Let's call it more of a transition phase where we've come to the end of a season. Hopefully you've accomplished your goals and we're going to have a slight break. So the purpose of the off season is to physically and mentally rejuvenate ourselves or to regroup. So obviously the question is, how do we do that? Well, that's what we're going to talk through. Give you some thoughts, give you some options, and just give you a few things to think about during this period before you start rushing and thinking about next year. Now, to physically rejuvenate, we're looking at doing two things. We're going to look at reducing your volume and intensity or training load. What we want to do is free up some time in the day. We want you to spend more time focusing on recovery. Now, the question we always get is, if I reduce my training, am I going to get less fit? Well, the answer is yes, but you do need to take a break at some point during the year. It doesn't matter how big your engine is, if you always rev it, it's going to blow. Now, as coaches, what we track is something called chronic training load. Some people like to think of this as a measure of fitness, but what it is in reality is a calculation based on the volume and intensity of someone's training, and it's measured over a 42-day rolling average. So with that in mind, say you've got a CTL of 100 and you're training 10 hours a week. If you just reduce your training for 2 or 3 weeks during the off season down to half that amount, so you're doing say a CTL of 50, over a 42-day rolling average over a couple of weeks, the reality is it's only going to have a small impact. So if we go back to our two goals, what does this actually look like from a training standpoint? How about becoming psychologically rejuvenated? How do you keep some form of motivation to train going? Well, at this point, I suggest to become slightly more unstructured. Now, we all like routines, we all like going through the motions day to day and having habits, and habits are good. But at the same time, you might feel just that little bit less inclined to do another hard bike or another structured run. So during this period, have some fun, train with friends, do a Zwift race instead of a hard bike session. What you've got to remember is we're at the furthest point from our races next year, so the training can be the least specific. It's also a good time to work on our weaknesses. So whether you maybe need to improve your bike handling skills, maybe you want to improve your downhill or uphill running, maybe you want to improve your mental skills and do some racing that's going to challenge you in a different way or put you in an uncomfortable situation. As long as it doesn't have a really high physiological cost, the winter's a good time to give something a go. Now, for a lot of our athletes, we'll be encouraging them to get in the gym to lift bigger weights and more frequently. This is something that we simply can't do when the training load is high. So what are the other advantages of unstructured training? Well, it's basically to just psychologically refresh. Give yourself a bit of a break, remove yourself from the plan, and maybe think about the sport a little bit less. It's a good opportunity to catch up and spend a bit more time with friends and family who may be neglected through the race season when you're so focused on doing the sessions and doing the work to achieve your goal. Everyone needs a break. Remember, this is only a short period, and soon we'll be entering the base and pre-competition period of our training plan, where we're looking to make all the gains for the year of racing ahead. So I hope there's something for everyone there. If you're thinking about training less, maybe do a little bit more. If you're thinking about training a lot, maybe do a little bit less. So with all that being said, now is actually a really good time to think about getting a coach. Don't wait till after Christmas. Don't wait till 3 months before your goal event. Remember, it takes 6 to 9 months to make real adaptions, and the runway to your goals is really at its longest now. So if you're curious and want to get in touch, check out our links below. And if you've liked this video, just don't forget to like and subscribe. Please, thank you.